Welcome back to Books on the Mic, everyone. We are on Chapter 16. Can you believe it?
Wow. Yeah.
If you're enjoying these deep dives, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future episodes. Today, we're taking a journey into the often overlooked but absolutely crucial world of sleep
Mm.
with Matthew Walker's Why We Sleep.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about how many hours you're clocking,
Right.
but really understanding the science behind sleep and its profound impact on our health and well-being.
Yeah. This book truly is a game changer.
Yeah,
For a long time, science couldn't really pinpoint why we sleep. We understand the biological imperatives behind, eating,
right,
drinking,
right.
and reproduction. But sleep,
Yeah,
it seems counterintuitive from an evolutionary perspective.
yeah.
It makes us vulnerable.
Right. It's like, hey, let's just lie here unconscious for hours. What could possibly go wrong?
Exactly.
But as Walker points out, sleep is this universal biological drive, just as essential as those other basic needs.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is that even with its seeming disadvantages, sleep is deeply ingrained in the fabric of life,
Mm,
spanning the entire animal kingdom.
yeah.
Yet the fundamental why behind it remained a scientific enigma until relatively recently.
So what does Walker say about why sleep is so important?
He calls sleep the foundation of good health,
Okay.
even going so far as to say it's more important than diet and exercise.
Wow.
Now, while all three are interconnected, the research Walker presents about sleep's impact on every major system in our body is pretty compelling.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics.
Okay.
Walker talks about these two main types of sleep, NREM and REM. Can you break those down for us?
Absolutely. NREM stands for non-rapid eye movement sleep.
Okay.
And it's where we cycle through different stages, from light sleep to that deep restorative sleep that you feel in your bones.
Yeah.
Think of deep NREM as a massive synchronization of brainwaves, almost like a nocturnal brain meditation session. This is where the magic happens in terms of memory consolidation, cleaning out brain toxins,
Okay.
and physical repair.
So deep NREM is like hitting the reset button for our brains and bodies.
Exactly. It's essential for clearing out the day's metabolic waste and allowing our cells to regenerate and repair themselves.
Mm.
Then there's REM sleep,
Okay.
or rapid eye movement sleep. This is our dream state.
Yeah.
And it's quite a paradox.
A paradox. How so?
Well, during REM sleep, our brains are buzzing with activity, almost like we're awake,
Okay.
but our bodies are essentially paralyzed.
Wow.
This bizarre contrast is why REM sleep is also referred to as paradoxical sleep.
So it's like our brains are having a party while our bodies are, well, stuck in sleeping bags.
Yeah.
But this dream state must serve an important purpose, right?
Absolutely. REM sleep is vital for processing emotions, problem solving, and even boosting creativity.
Okay.
Think of it as your brain's overnight therapy session and idea incubator all rolled into one.
Okay, that makes sense. And both NREM and REM are crucial for our overall well-being.
Yes.
But what happens when we don't get enough of either?
That brings us to the issue of sleep deprivation,
Right.
which has unfortunately become a global epidemic. We're not just talking about feeling a bit groggy after a late night.
Yeah.
Chronic sleep loss has far-reaching consequences,
Correct.
increasing the risk of serious health problems like heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and even Alzheimer's disease.
Wow, those are some serious consequences. It sounds like we're really playing with fire when we skimp on sleep.
We are. And it's not just about the big, scary diseases. Sleep deprivation throws our hormones out of whack, weakens our immune systems, impairs our cognitive functions, and can even make us as dangerous behind the wheel as someone who's been drinking.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, drowsy driving. That's a real-life consequence that hits close to home for a lot of people.
It does. And what's particularly alarming is that sleep deprivation affects us on a cellular level, even altering our DNA. We're not just talking about feeling tired. We're talking about compromising our very biology.
So it's not just about how we feel. It's about actual damage happening at a fundamental level.
Exactly. And what's really concerning is how this damage can accumulate over time,
Right.
increasing our susceptibility to a whole range of health problems.
Yeah.
It's like we're slowly eroding our own foundations without even realizing it.
This is starting to sound pretty bleak. Is there any good news here?
The good news is that we are learning more about the importance of sleep and how to improve our sleep habits.
Okay, good.
For example, Walker debunks the myth that we can train ourselves to function on less sleep.
Hmm,
Our bodies and minds have specific sleep needs, and ignoring those needs will eventually catch up with us.
that's a relief to hear.
Yeah.
I've always been skeptical of those claims that you can hack your sleep and get by on just a few hours. So what does Walker say about how we can improve our sleep?
He offers a wealth of practical tips, many of which are things we've heard before. But understanding the science behind them can make us more likely to actually implement them.
Yeah.
For instance, sticking to a regular sleep schedule, even on weekends, is crucial
Okay.
for regulating our body's natural sleep-wake cycle, known as our circadian rhythm.
Oh, you mean our internal clock that tells us when to sleep and wake up?
Exactly. And just like a clock, it needs to be set consistently to function properly. Another important tip is creating a relaxing bedtime routine.
Okay.
This could involve taking a warm bath, reading a book, or listening to calming music.
Yeah.
The key is to signal to your brain that it's time to wind down and prepare for sleep.
So it's about creating a consistent sleep-wake routine and setting the stage for restful sleep. What about our sleep environment? Does that play a role?
Absolutely. Walker emphasizes the importance of optimizing your sleep environment.
Okay.
This means making sure your bedroom is dark, cool, and free from distractions like electronic devices.
Right. No scrolling through social media in bed. I know I'm guilty of that sometimes. But I've heard that blue light from our phones and laptops can actually interfere with our sleep.
That's right. The blue light emitted from these devices suppresses the production of melatonin, a hormone that regulates our sleep-wake cycle.
Oh,
So it's best to avoid screen time for at least an hour before bed.
okay, that makes sense. So we've talked about sleep stages, the dangers of sleep deprivation, and some basic tips for improving our sleep. What else does Walker dive into?
One of the most fascinating parts of the book is his exploration of sleep in the animal kingdom.
Oh, interesting.
Did you know that dolphins sleep with one half of their brain at a time?
Wait, what? How is that even possible?
It's an incredible adaptation that allows them to remain partially conscious and continue swimming and breathing while they sleep.
Wow.
And birds on long migrations can drastically reduce their sleep with no apparent ill effects.
Hmm.
It's remarkable how diverse sleep patterns are across different species.
That is mind-blowing. It makes you wonder what other secrets the animal kingdom holds about the mysteries of sleep.
It really does. And Walker's research suggests that studying these diverse sleep patterns can provide valuable insights into the evolution and function of sleep in humans.
Yeah, fascinating.
But it's not just about the animal kingdom. Walker also delves into how sleep changes across the human lifespan. From the REM-dominated sleep of fetuses to the circadian shifts of teenagers and the decline in deep sleep as we age, there's so much variation.
So our sleep needs and patterns evolve throughout our lives.
They do, and understanding these changes is crucial for optimizing sleep at every stage.
Hmm.
For example, Walker highlights how crucial sleep is for babies and children, particularly for brain development and learning. He's a strong advocate for later school start times for teenagers,
Yeah.
arguing that early starts are robbing them of much-needed sleep.
I remember being a teenager and struggling to get out of bed for those early classes. It felt like my brain was still half asleep.
It's not just about feeling tired. Teenagers experience a natural shift in their circadian rhythm, making them more alert later in the day and evening.
Hmm.
Early school starts force them to wake up during a time when their bodies are biologically programmed to be asleep,
Yeah.
which can lead to chronic sleep deprivation and have a negative impact on their academic performance, mood, and overall well-being.
So early school starts are literally working against teenagers' biology.
They are. And the research shows that delaying school start times has a number of benefits,
Okay.
including improved academic performance, reduced absenteeism, and even a decrease in car accidents among teenagers.
That's incredible. It seems like such a simple change, yet it could have such a profound impact on teenagers' lives.
It could. And it's just one example of how understanding the science of sleep can inform policies and practices that promote healthier sleep habits and improve our overall well-being.
Oh, this is all so fascinating. I'm already starting to rethink my own sleep habits.
It's a journey worth taking. And what's great is that Walker doesn't just leave us with a bunch of scientific facts.
Yeah.
He provides practical guidance on how to implement these changes and make sleep a priority in our lives.
Well, on that note, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive into why we sleep.
Yeah.
We've explored the different stages of sleep, the dangers of sleep deprivation, the importance of optimizing our sleep environment, and even taken a peek into the fascinating world of sleep in the animal kingdom. But there's still so much more to uncover.
There is. And in the next part, we'll delve deeper into some of the more surprising and counterintuitive aspects of sleep,
Okay.
including the power of napping, the dangers of sleeping pills, and the importance of advocating for societal changes that prioritize sleep health.
I can't wait to dive back in. Listeners, be sure to join us for part 2 of our deep dive into why we sleep, where we'll continue to explore the fascinating science of sleep and its profound impact on our lives.
Welcome back to our exploration of why we sleep.
Thanks for having me back.
When we left off, we were discussing how sleep needs and patterns evolve throughout our lives.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting to consider how our modern society often seems to work against our natural sleep rhythms.
Yeah, you're so right. We're constantly bombarded with messages about, productivity and putting ourselves to the limit, often at the expense of sleep. It's like we've created this culture that glorifies busyness and sleep deprivation.
Exactly. And this brings us to another important point that Walker makes. We can't simply train ourselves to function on less sleep.
Hmm.
Our bodies and minds have specific sleep needs, and chronically ignoring those needs comes at a steep price.
I think we've all experienced that feeling of being chronically sleep deprived,
Yeah.
just running on fumes.
Right.
But Walker really brings to light the extent of the damage that sleep loss can cause. He talks about how it affects us on a cellular level, even altering our DNA.
That's right. It's not just about feeling tired or foggy-headed. It's about compromising our very biology. And one of the most disturbing findings is the link between sleep loss and a whole host of diseases.
Right.
Walker delves into the research on how sleep deprivation increases our risk of heart disease, stroke, diabetes, obesity, cancer,
Yeah?
and even Alzheimer's disease.
It's really overwhelming when you think about all those potential consequences. And what's crazy is how sleep loss messes with our hormones, making us hungrier, less able to control our impulses,
Right.
more prone to overeating.
Right.
It's like a recipe for weight gain and metabolic dysfunction.
It's like our bodies go into survival mode when we're sleep deprived, craving quick energy,
Yeah.
storing fat as a way to prepare for a potential famine.
Right.
But of course, in our modern world, we're rarely facing actual famines.
Right.
So this hormonal response just leads to weight gain and health problems.
And it's not just our physical health that suffers. Walker talks about how sleep deprivation also impairs our cognitive function, our emotional regulation, and even our social interactions. We become less focused, more irritable, less empathetic, more prone to making mistakes.
There's a study Walker describes that really highlights this point. It showed that after just one night of sleep deprivation, people's ability to accurately read facial expressions was significantly impaired. They basically couldn't tell a friendly face from a threatening one.
That's a bit scary when you think about it. I mean, misreading social cues can lead to all sorts of misunderstandings and conflicts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the implications for safety are also concerning. Imagine a sleep-deprived driver or a surgeon who's been working a double shift.
Yeah.
Their impaired judgment and reaction time could have serious consequences.
It's a sobering thought, but Walker also offers some glimmers of hope. He talks about the power of napping, how even short naps can provide a boost in alertness and cognitive performance. He even mentions that NASA has a nap culture because they've seen the benefits for astronauts.
Napping is a fascinating example of how we can strategically leverage sleep to enhance our cognitive functions. And Walker emphasizes that understanding the science of sleep empowers us to make informed choices about our sleep habits, whether it's optimizing our sleep environment,
Right.
establishing a regular sleep-wake routine,
Right.
or even incorporating strategic napping into our day.
It's about taking control of our sleep rather than letting it control us. And I think it's important to highlight Walker's discussion of the glymphatic system, which you mentioned earlier. Can you explain what that is and why it's relevant to sleep?
Of course. The glymphatic system is essentially our brain's waste disposal system,
Yeah.
and it's most active during sleep, particularly during deep and REM sleep. It's responsible for clearing out toxins and metabolic byproducts that accumulate in the brain throughout the day.
So it's like our brains are getting a nightly power wash.
Exactly. And this cleaning process is crucial for maintaining cognitive function and preventing neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. Walker explains that when we're sleep deprived, the glymphatic system can't function effectively, leading to a buildup of harmful proteins in the brain.
That's fascinating. So getting enough sleep is not just about feeling rested. It's about keeping our brains clean and healthy.
It is, and it underscores just how crucial deep NREM sleep is for our overall well-being.
Speaking of deep sleep, Walker also talks about how it declines as we age, contributing to cognitive and health issues in older adults. Is there anything we can do to mitigate this decline?
While some age-related changes in sleep are inevitable, there are things we can do to promote healthy sleep as we get older. Maintaining a regular sleep-wake routine, creating a relaxing bedtime ritual, and optimizing our sleep environment are all important.
So the same basic principles of sleep hygiene apply throughout our lives.
They do. And Walker emphasizes that it's never too late to start prioritizing sleep.
And what about sleeping pills? Are they a viable option for people who are struggling to sleep?
Walker cautions against relying on sleeping pills as a long-term solution.
Okay.
While they may provide temporary relief, they often come with a host of side effects
Right.
and can even be dangerous in the long run.
So what does he recommend instead?
He advocates for cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia,
Okay.
or CBTI, which has been shown to be more effective than medication and has lasting benefits.
Hmm.
It's about retraining your brain to sleep better, addressing the underlying causes of insomnia rather than just masking the symptoms.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about finding sustainable solutions that address the root of the problem rather than just band-aiding it.
Exactly. And Walker doesn't just focus on individual solutions.
Mhm.
He also advocates for broader societal changes to promote better sleep. He talks about things like later school start times for teenagers,
Right.
addressing the sleep deprivation culture in healthcare,
Yeah?
and even using health insurance incentives to encourage good sleep habits.
It's fascinating to think about how we could shift our societal norms to prioritize sleep. I mean, imagine a world where we celebrated getting a good night's sleep as much as we celebrate, working late into the night.
It's a compelling vision,
Yeah.
and Walker argues that we need to move beyond simply accepting sleep deprivation as a necessary evil of modern life.
Great. We need to start recognizing sleep as a fundamental human need that deserves to be protected and prioritized, just like food, water, and shelter.
And I think his book is playing a crucial role in changing the conversation around sleep,
Yeah.
challenging our cultural assumptions,
Right.
and promoting policies that prioritize sleep health.
It is, and it's not just about policy.
Yeah.
It's about individual awareness and action. Walker empowers readers to become advocates for sleep in their own lives and in their communities.
So it's about taking responsibility for our own sleep habits and also advocating for change at a larger scale.
Precisely. But Walker's message is clear. We need to stop seeing sleep as a luxury or a sign of weakness and start recognizing it as a fundamental pillar of our health, well-being, and productivity.
I think that's a message worth spreading. It's not just about getting enough sleep, it's about understanding the profound impact that sleep has on every aspect of our lives and making it a priority. Absolutely. And in the next part, we'll continue to explore this fascinating world of sleep, delving into some of the more intriguing aspects, like the mysteries of dreaming and the latest research on sleep disorders. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into why we sleep. We've covered so much ground already, from the different stages of sleep to the dangers of sleep deprivation. But there's one aspect we haven't delved into yet that I'm particularly curious about. Dreams.
Ah, yes. The mysterious realm of dreams.
Right.
Walker dedicates a significant portion of his book to exploring the science of REM sleep and the often perplexing world of dreams. And, for centuries, dreams were viewed through this mystical lens with interpretations ranging from prophetic messages to repressed desires bubbling to the surface.
Right. It's like everyone had their own theory about what dreams meant, but there wasn't much scientific understanding to back it up.
Exactly.
So what does Walker have to say about the science of dreaming?
Well, he challenges some of those traditional interpretations, especially the Freudian notion that dreams are simply disguised wish fulfillments. Instead, he presents evidence suggesting that dreams are a reflection of our waking experiences and concerns processed in a way that helps us make sense of them and regulate our emotional responses.
So instead of being these hidden messages from our subconscious, dreams are more like our brains working through the day's events and emotions.
Exactly. It's like our brains are running these overnight simulations, helping us process difficult emotions and consolidate memories in a way that makes them less emotionally charged.
Okay.
In a sense, dreaming can be seen as a form of overnight therapy, helping us wake up feeling more balanced and resilient.
That's fascinating. So instead of trying to decode hidden symbols, we should be looking at our dreams as a way of understanding how our brains are processing our daily lives.
Precisely. And what's even more intriguing is the connection Walker draws between REM sleep and creativity. He provides compelling examples of how dreams have inspired scientific breakthroughs, musical masterpieces,
Hmm.
and even solutions to complex
I
problems.
mean, like those stories of scientists waking up from a dream with the solution to a problem they'd been struggling with for months.
Exactly. It's like our dreaming minds have access to this creative wellspring that our waking minds can tap into.
Yeah.
And Walker suggests that REM sleep plays a crucial role in this creative process, allowing us to make leaps of insight and forge novel associations that might not have been possible in our waking state.
That's incredible. It makes you wonder what brilliant ideas we might be missing out on when we skimp on sleep. It's like we're limiting our own creative potential.
You hit the nail on the head, and it highlights yet another reason why prioritizing sleep is so crucial,
Mhm.
not just for our physical and mental health, but also for our cognitive abilities and creative potential.
So are you saying we should all start keeping dream journals and trying to analyze our dreams for creative inspiration?
Well, while keeping a dream journal can be a fun and insightful practice,
Yeah.
Walker cautions against the idea that we can simply force ourselves to have creative dreams.
Right.
He emphasizes that sleep, like any other biological process, can't be fully controlled or manipulated.
Right.
It's more about creating the conditions for healthy sleep and trusting that our brains will do the rest.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
We can't just will ourselves to have brilliant dreams, but we can create an environment that supports healthy sleep, which in turn can foster creativity and insight.
Exactly. And Walker offers a wealth of practical advice on how to do just that.
Okay.
He talks about optimizing your sleep environment,
Yeah.
establishing a regular sleep-wake routine, and minimizing factors that can interfere with sleep, such as caffeine,
All
alcohol,
right.
and late-night exposure to electronic devices.
So it's back to those foundational principles of sleep hygiene that we discussed earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they really are the key to unlocking the full benefits of sleep.
They are. And Walker also emphasizes the importance of understanding the different types of sleep and how they contribute to our overall well-being.
Yeah.
We've talked about NREM and REM sleep, but he also delves into other aspects like sleep spindles, K-complexes,
Right.
and the different stages of NREM sleep. It's fascinating stuff.
It is. And I think his book does a fantastic job of explaining the science behind these different aspects of sleep in a way that's both engaging and accessible.
Absolutely. And he doesn't shy away from addressing some of the more challenging aspects of sleep, like sleep disorders. He covers a range of conditions from insomnia and sleep apnea
Right.
to narcolepsy and restless leg syndrome.
I remember being particularly struck by his discussion of fatal familial insomnia, a rare genetic disorder that causes progressive and ultimately fatal insomnia.
Yeah.
It's a stark reminder of just how essential sleep is for our very survival.
It is a chilling example, and it underscores the point that sleep is not just a luxury, it's a fundamental biological need.
Yeah.
And while most of us won't face such an extreme condition, sleep disorders are incredibly common, affecting millions of people worldwide.
And yet, there's often a stigma associated with sleep disorders, like it's a sign of weakness or a lack of willpower.
That's right. And Walker challenges this stigma, emphasizing that sleep disorders are real medical conditions that deserve to be treated with compassion and understanding.
So what's his take on the best way to address sleep disorders?
Well, he advocates for a multifaceted approach combining lifestyle changes,
Right.
behavioral therapies, and in some cases, medication.
Hmm.
He's a big proponent of cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBTI,
Hmm.
which has been shown to be highly effective in treating chronic insomnia.
And as we discussed earlier, CBTI focuses on retraining the brain to sleep better, addressing the underlying psychological and behavioral factors that contribute to insomnia.
Exactly. And Walker emphasizes the importance of seeking professional help if you're struggling with a sleep disorder,
Yeah.
rather than just trying to tough it out or self-medicate.
It's about recognizing that sleep is a fundamental aspect of our health,
Yeah.
and just like any other health concern, it's important to seek expert guidance and support if we're having problems.
Absolutely. And while Walker delves into the science of sleep and the complexities of sleep disorders, he also offers a message of hope and empowerment. He reminds us that we have more control over our sleep than we often realize.
And that even small changes in our sleep habits can make a big difference in our overall health and well-being.
Precisely. And his book serves as a powerful call to action,
Yeah.
urging us to reclaim our right to a good night's sleep and to create a culture that values and supports healthy sleep habits.
Well, I think that's a perfect note to end on. We've explored the fascinating world of sleep, from the science behind its various stages to the impact it has on our physical health, mental well-being, cognitive abilities, and even our creativity.
It's been a truly insightful journey,
Yeah,
and I hope our listeners feel empowered to prioritize sleep in their own lives and to become advocates for a world that recognizes and respects the fundamental importance of sleep.
absolutely. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into why we sleep. Be sure to check out our show notes for links to Matthew Walker's work and other resources on sleep. And as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What resonated with you most? What changes are you inspired to make in your own life? Join the conversation on our social media channels, and let's keep the sleep revolution going. Until next time, happy reading and even happier sleeping.